Okay, we're going to move to the next section now under analysis. The two reports here are called routed health and routed profile. I'd like to go into routed health first. So routed health is exactly that. What is the health of the configuration from a BGP and GRE connectivity perspective, as well as what data can we provide you around the network route advertisements that are being sent for protection or for always on routing. So here you see that there's BGP sessions and then there's routes. A quick summary of how many BGP sessions are enabled, how many advertisements is Akamai sending to the internet, how many locations does Akamai have out and provisioned, how many routers are protected in the data center for the customer, as well as what are the virtual delivery paths of the GRE service. Now, this account does not have the routed connect service with VLANs provisioned. This only has the routed GRE implementation. And because of the method in which we configured the service, this gives you a lot of network capacity to deliver clean traffic back to your origin. Here, when it says Akamai Scrubbing Center, this is the actual scrubbing center where the BGP neighbor actually lives and is homed at. This is not just GRE tunnels. GRE tunnels are connected in every scrubbing center, and that can also be displayed under the routed map view under grid. So here it just shows you the BGP peer. So here you can see that the BGP state is established. You see the Akamai BGP peer IP address. You see the customer advertisement BGP peer, as well as the ASN that is sending us the /24. You can see the last BGP response as far as a last update. You can see that the GRE tunnel health status is healthy, and you can see that there are 38 delivery paths for this single connection, this is how you add this up. So 38 times 4, and that's where you get the 152 delivery paths. You can also see what advertisements are being sent here as well. It's a nice summary. And this does this for every BGP session configured. Now, when you go over, you can also search by the IP address, the health of the BGP session. If you had multiple data centers here, you could search for the data center name as well as the router host name. So there is some filtering here, as well as an auto refresh. The routes tab is pretty nice because it gives you a little bit more information around the settings. Here you can see again the /32 that's being advertised, which is also a part of the /24. From what is the policy domain name or the data center configuration name, the BGP IP address that's used as the adjacency or the peer, as well as the AS, any community local preferences or attributes, or any of your multi-exit discriminator attributes, as well as what is the local preference attribute that we're applying to that route. So you could have one that is a local pref community set here, and then you would see that reflected as the preference that we apply into that routing. You can also expand this to see all your connections if you had more than just the 10, and you can search different by page. This is really good information for doing any kind of network troubleshooting or network status on your configurations. A lot of my customers like to use the BGP session data to find out exactly which scrubbing center the BGP peer is provisioned to, etc. So that's really the routed health dashboard. The routed profile dashboard under the analysis section is one of my favorite reports because this gives us a little bit more deep dive into what traffic type profiles are being analyzed in your configurations. So this is a report that is ran 24 hours after the day has passed. So from now, it would be 24 hours in the past. You're able to look at this data from a day's perspective or a summary of a week. You can also review this data going back 90 days. So you could say, hey, show me the week of the 18th. Go ahead and plot out that week. I want to select the actual data center name. I can select the IP address. I can select the router host name. I can do multiple different types of network selectors. I'll just, in this case, do the data center configuration as well as the data source. So I do want to look at this data from a pre-mitigation perspective or a post-mitigation perspective. So if I hit go on the pre-mitigation perspective, it'll plot out all the data that's relevant based on these dimensions. So the first, second, third, fourth, fifth is a top five, is like basically a summary of the evaluation of that period and samples. So here you can see like the protocol port, destination port, What TCP flags make up the largest percentage? What countries are being made up the largest percentage of country geos that are hitting this? You can also see source IP, like what source IPs are hitting this data center and what is consuming the largest amount of that bandwidth, as well as things like destination IP. What IP addresses are provisioned on this network that's seeing a lot of traffic? As you can see, this /24, this 62.50 is really the only provisioned IP address on this account, but you'll see that there's a lot of other traffic being sent to these other services. If you notice here, this looks like somebody scanning and looking for hosted applications or hosted protocols and services running on this network. So this could be very useful information for you to go out and build a security posture that says deny traffic to all these other destinations, but only permit it to this destination. You can also see that based on that destination, you know the largest consumed service is port 80. That is true because this is the only protocol and port that we're running on this host. So all these other services are probably scans and trying network attempts to connect to a advertised prefix that is not provisioned for any production. So there's a good tall tale sign here. You can also download these into CSV format. Right now, this is not, we don't provide you a diff on or the difference in the deltas between pre and post, but I often recommend to my customers to go to pre, download destination IPs, go to post, download destination IPs, and then diff out the file and see what are some of the deltas. You can do that with source AP, you can do that with destination ports, you can do that a lot with like country codes to tell you what countries are attacking you from pre-mitigation and what country codes are accessing your legitimate services post-mitigation. So there's different ways that you can use this reporting, but this is really good analytics for peacetime to help you build a good security posture. You could also use this for post-attack forensics and reverse engineering of data. And that is the review for the analysis section.